This is Sigarda. Sigarda is one of my oldest decks. I've had her for years. Probably 10 years, if not longer at this point. This is her Voya token. So when I cast Tulsimir and I tap him to create Voya, I've got a token for it. Anyway, Sigarda is, she used to be a house. She used to be one of my best decks. But now the environment has changed and she's becoming obsolete. She's showing her age, as it were. So what I'm going to do is try to make some small changes to shore her up, make her relevant again, without having to redo the deck entirely, or as I've had to do with other decks, to disassemble it and create something completely new. I don't want to do that, because I have a lot of fun with her. So here are the 4 cards I'm thinking about putting in. I realize she does not have enough ramp anymore. Used to be, her ramp package was sufficient. It was a slower environment. The environment has sped up. The setup time is a lot faster than it used to be. Used to be the setup time where people were doing their mana rocks, ramping, getting out their early defenses, lasted for about 6 turns. 4 to 6 turns, used to be. Now, it's about 2 or 3 turns. 2 or 3 turns, if you don't have a good blocker, if you don't have your ramp going, you're falling behind. And that's what happened is last night she was falling behind. So what I'm going to do is take out some of the cards that used to be good, but no longer are. And as I go through this, some of you lads are going to say, well, that card isn't good either, and that card isn't good either. Why don't you take that shit out? Because I don't want to. Because it's still good in my eyes. Let's see, Medicine Runner, remove a counter from target permanent. So he comes down. If I get an Anthem effect, then he would be a 4/3, not a 2/1. Fertilid. Fertilid is good because I have a lot of ways of putting +1/+1 encounters on my creatures. So he's still decent. Gavany Township, Kitchen Finks. Let me find the cards that I already identified as ones that should come out. He's in here because of the +1/+1 encounter each creature I control. One of her things is she has a Cauldron of Souls. My idea is to have Cauldron of Souls out, kill all the creatures after giving in response or before giving all my creatures persist. So all my creatures come back, and then if I have a Johnny out, I can give them all +1/+1 counter, negating the neg1 that the Cauldron of Souls gives them. So that's the idea behind the deck, is everything dies, my stuff comes back. Sylvan Safekeeper. I've got a new one. I've got a foil Modern Horizons. I think it's Modern Horizons, yeah. And I've got a foil Judgment Sylvan Safekeeper in Edric. So I'm going to take him out, put in the Modern Horizons, so I've got different art. I like having different art across my decks. Here he is, Tulsimir Wolfsblood. Tap, put Voya into play. Comrade Loxodonsky comes into play, gains 4 life. Green-white, sack him, all my creatures regenerate. Let's see. Beast with Harrow. I'm going to take that out. I used to have a Riftstone Portal. Riftstone Portal is a land that if it's in your graveyard, all your lands tap for either green or white. So all your lands become savannas in addition to whatever else they do. I took out Riftstone Portal because it wasn't coming up. I wasn't getting it to play it, to destroy it, to put in my graveyard. I don't have any mill. I don't have any ways of finding it, so I took it out. But I left in Harrow, which is kind of a mistake. I should have thought at the time. So I'm going to take out Harrow and put in either Cultivate Kadama's Reach or 3 Visits. That's going to be a 1-for-1. What else? Remember the Fallen? gets back my Cauldron of Souls after it inevitably gets destroyed. Go finds lands. Makes my creatures bigger. Destroys all the creatures. Except for him. Let's see what else I want to take out. I'm not sure if I still want him anymore. We'll untap 2 lands. Exile the Graveyard. Exploration is good. Dauntless Escort is good in this deck. Knight of the Reliquary. Sacrifice a Forest for Plains. Go find any land card. So keep her for now. Guardian Project, draw cards. Austere Command, blow shit up. Steward of Veleron. So he's supposed to be an early Mandork. He just... I had him in play last night, and he wasn't getting me there. So let's take him out for probably 3 visits. That's probably a better idea. Birthing Pod, Oversoul of Dusk. I don't want to take out too many creatures because, of course, I have the pod in the deck. Opponents can't cast spells during my turn. Whenever a creature with power greater than base power. So if I put a +1/+1 counter on everybody and attack, and it hits a player, I get cards. Heartmender. So this is the other thing. Either I put +1/+1 counters to negate the persist counters, or I play Heartmender and he just takes them off. He also works against Wither counters. So there is that. Acidic Slime costs quite a bit, but works pretty good. Nova Blast Worm blows up creatures. He brings creatures back. Duplicant. Excuse me, exiles creature. Sun Titan. I just love Sun Titan. Yosei screws somebody up. Draws me cards. Comes to play, and I draw a card. And it's a way to stall. I can also sacrifice it with the Birthing Pod to go find Dauntless Escort, Kitchen Finks, anything useful. Plus some counters on my creatures and gives them hexproof. This removes 1 counter from 1 permanent. But it's easy to cast. Hybrid. Steward of Veleron can be tricky to cast. In my first G turns last night, I wasn't getting enough white. So I think it was turn 3 before I could actually cast the Steward. Ferdinand already talked about him. Sword of Hearth and Home. This is really go find a land and flicker a creature. Linvala, Keeper of Silence. What else? Go find a... So I only identified 2 creatures to come out. Now, if I do get an Anthem effect, though, he'll be a 4/4. He'll be a Serra Angel. Well, he won't have flying, but he'll be a 4/4 with Vigilance. Do I want to take him out? So let's take out Harrow for Cultivate. So I'm going from an instant to sorcery speed, but I still get 2 lands. Of course, one of them, if I don't have a land drop available to me that turn, it's not coming into play. This is an instant. I can do it any time. Probably a good idea. Let me think about this again, because I want that Flare of Fortitude. I need more protection in her. Sacrifice non-token white creature. Now, instead of putting all the +1/+1 counters, if I flicker the creatures with a Ghost Way, with an Eerie Interlude, that's going to be pretty good too. So maybe I should take out a Johnny, take out some of the on-board effects that I can only activate at sorcery speed for instant effects. Maybe that's the better way to think about it. Let's try again. That damn thing costs 7, but it's a 7/7. And when it attacks, destroy all of the creatures if they have persist. Or if I've Flare of Fortituded, they won't die. It's going to be a little bit tougher than I thought. Comes into play, draw a card. And I plan for the creatures to be coming into play and drawing cards, coming into play after dying. But maybe it's just time to give this up. Maybe it's time to skip Wall of Blossoms. I'll think about that. Removes a counter from a permanent. So what else can it do? It can make something a little bit smaller. It can remove loyalty counter from a planeswalker. It is versatile, but because it only gets one counter, it is sort of a niche product. 3 to cast, 2 to use, but I can put plus and plus encounters on my creatures. See? Excuse me. What else should come out, if anything? Maybe I can actually take out a land. He untaps lands, and I've got Cradle, I've got Nykthos. So there's several lands that would be interesting to untap. The Beast creature token I don't care about. Creatures you control get +3/+3. That can be good. Let's see. Definitely want the Exploration. Escort is a key card in this deck. She goes and finds lands. Makes Sigarda indestructible. Draws cards. More mana. Bigger creatures. Blow up some stuff. Eternal Witness. Birthing Pod. Oversoul of Dusk. Texture from blue, from black, from red. But she cost 5 green, 5 white. Some combination of that. She doesn't have trample, but the protection is pretty relevant. Maybe I should take her out. Can't cast spells during my turn. Heartmender. Arcana Justice. Yeah, I mean, he's perfect. Flare of Fortitude. You may sacrifice a non-token white creature, pay the spell's minute. So, Flare of Fortitude, if he's in play, sacrifice him, he dies, exile target permanent, and flare. That sounds like a good deal to me. So this is an Aura Shards on legs. It does it only once, but my creature should be coming back into play regularly. Let me think of a flicker effect, actually. There's going to be a Splice Part 2 onto this. Alright, so I've been thinking about Sigarda, and I think I have it. So here she is. Steward of Valorant is going to stay. And it decided what I should do is get more flying. So I should put in Voice of All. 2 white for a 2/2. Not very impressive. But she flies, and she comes to play, choose a color. She has protection for the chosen color. As the cat goes crazy. Lathiel, the Bounteous Dawn. 2 green-white for a 2/2 lifelinker. Again, not terribly impressive, but at the beginning of each end step, if I gain life, I distribute up to that many plus and plus encounters among any number of other target creatures. Could be good. Sigarda, Font of Blessings. 2 green-white for a 4/4 flyer. Other permanents have hexproof, so if I have Shalai and Sigarda Font of Blessings in play, they give each other hexproof, so they protect the team. I can look at the top card of my library whenever I feel like it, and I may cast angel spells and human spells from the top of my library. after looking at it whenever I feel like it. So let's see what I'm going to take out. And I need to still replace that with the MH2 version. Don't really want to do this because I like them so much. I've had them in the deck for so long, but it's time to recognize they're just kind of obsolete now in the games I've been playing. And they are, if I can find them, Oversoul of Dusk and where is it? Where did it go? Saber-tooth Neshoba. Right, so for 6, I get a 5/5 Trampler, protection from blue and protection from red. Those are often relevant, but I think flying and protecting my team with Sigarda Font of Blessings is going to be more relevant. Also lowers my overall CMC in the deck. That's just beautiful. I've always liked this guy. Always. Ever since I saw him in Invasion, I thought, wow, that's just fucking cool. He's hardly ever worked though. I just like the card. I like the way it looks in this foil. I like the idea of a 5/5 Trampler protection for 2 colors. It's good. It's just not getting there. And last game I played with Sigarda, I did get him in play, and he didn't really do anything. Nobody's really playing blue and black except the Roman, but the Roman's deck is, his commander's Nigathrod, and when Nigathrod comes into play, all his horrors get menace. So if I've got one creature protection from blue and protection from red and block, he's going to kill the second one that I have to block with. So, kind of a losing, I'm going to lose a creature anyway, right? So, Sigarda goes in. Oversoul of Dusk. I mean, the Scott Fisher art, I love his work, I love his art. And she just looks so weird, but so brutal. I mean, look at this little dude here looking up at her like, oh my god, it's a giant avatar. It's come to save us. 5/5, protection blue, black, and red. So, protection from 3 colors. But putting Lathiel, Tibanius Dawn, is probably going to be better. Again, lowers my overall CMC. Gives me the ability to put more, pull it off, put more counters on something. It's kind of tough changing a deck that you've had for years, isn't it? I mean, Sigarda's had Oversoul of Dusk and Saber-tooth Neshoba pretty much as long as I've had her. I think those are 2 cards that have been in the deck since I first built it. And now they're coming out. So if I'm going to be brutal about it, what else should come out? I've got 1 fetch land, 1 Corrosive Verge, but I can sacrifice forests or plains to go find a land, put into play. And she gets bigger with every land in my graveyard. Not that I would have that many. Do I really need her? Do I really want to keep her in the deck? Because she doesn't get that big. Maybe it's time to... But she is a human, so I can cast her off the top of my library with Sigarda. He has to stay because he gives my creatures indestructible, so if I'm going to do a board wipe, everybody survives on my side. Murray's Wake doubles my mana, makes my creatures bigger. It's a magnet for removal, though. It's a damn magnet, so they'll take that out before they take out anything else, most likely. Birthing Pod, Kutzel, new addition to the deck. Heartmender. Again, this works really well with the Cauldron of Souls, and he takes off his own persist counter, so he's kind of immortal. Crop rotation, Archon of Justice, exile a permanent when he dies. Johnny Goldmane, gain 2 life. Negate the Negwin counters that were put on by Cauldron of Souls. Useful. Comes into play, destroy something. So if I can resurrect it somehow, bring it back, do an Aura Shards again, switch foot boots. Yep, hexproof and haste. Good for Nova Blast Worm. Put this on the worm. If I have 8, of course it costs 8 to do it, and I have to have the boots in play. Nova Blast Worm can attack immediately. Hymn of Rebirth. Take target creature from any graveyard and put it into play under my control as though it were just summoned. Time to discovery route. So 5 for Wrath of God. 7 for an instantaneous Wrath of God. That will catch people napping. Makes my creatures bigger. Other creatures. So he would be a 6/6 if Tolsmir was in play. Looking, this is funny. I love this card. This card is ripe for reprint. It needs to get reprinted. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, show off the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, put it on the battlefield. Otherwise, let me put it on the bottom of my library. One game, I got like 10 creatures off of this before they realized it's killing them. It's going to kill them. And then they took it out. Safi, of course, with Sun Titan, so I can sacrifice her to make a creature immortal. Roundabout regeneration with extra steps. So she's regeneration with extra steps. And with Sun Titan, I can put her back into play. I get her back out of the graveyard. I still want to put in 3 more cards. I need to make 3 more cuts. This is going to hurt. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Go find a land. Show it off. Pretty sure he's a human now. If he's a human, then I can cast him off the top of Sigarda, the Font of Blessings. This guy, whenever my creatures come to play, they get bigger. He gets bigger. He's pretty damn useful. There's the Cauldron of Souls. Choose any number of target creatures. Each of those creatures gain persist until the end of the turn. There's a bit of dust in there. I'll have to take it out later. Teferi's Protection. I'm thinking of taking out Teferi's Protection for Ghostway, because I'm more concerned with exiling my creatures and returning them to the battlefield and getting that ETB renewal than I am with protecting myself. And it exiles itself, so it's a 1 use. So I'm going to take this out, Teferi's Protection, for Ghostway. And a lot of you are saying, no, well, maybe you're right. Maybe I shouldn't do it. Let me get to the lion. Throw away 2 cards and Wrath of God. Except for him. He doesn't die. Because he's a big, cool bastard. Look at him. Look at his chest. Look at his chest compared to his head. He's a big, beefy motherfucker, ain't he? I'll beat you down. There's a Cultivate I just put in. Reliquary Nyx, Bonders Enclave. Acidic Slime. If creatures are going to die and come back, slime is a good thing to bring back. There's the Nova Blast Worm. Of course, it's when he attacks. So when Nova Blast Worm, or she actually, because she hungers for her child, so when she attacks, all the other creatures die, so there will be no blocking. She destroys everything before blockers can be declared unless they have something indestructible. If they have something that regenerates, well, it taps when it regenerates, so ain't blocking. Karmic Guide, she's cool. Duplicate. Gets rid of a creature, Sun Titan. Comes into play, brings back Harmonic Sliver, something. Do I really want to keep him? I don't have Jugan in here. Put into graveyard for play. Target player skips as her next untap step. So I have to get him killed in order for that to trigger. But I do get to tap up to 5 permanents they control. I do have High Market in the deck. Maybe that's the tough choice. Maybe I take out Yosei, the Morningstar, in favor of Voice of All. Because Voice of All, she's not a 5/5, but she costs 2 less than Yosei. She still flies, and she'll have protection from a color. Probably white, to prevent her from getting past Sword. So she can block Sigarda Jabari. Lifelink of Trample, want to keep that. Wall of Blossoms. Comes into play. It's an early blocker. I can sacrifice it with the Birthing Pod and go get something more interesting. Harmonic Sliver. Kitchen Finks. Something. So maybe I should keep that. Should I? Voice of Plenty. You, Planeswalker Control, and other creature control have hexproof. So there you go. She and Sigarda Font of Blessings will protect each other. Medicine Runner comes into play. Remove a counter from target permanent. What else would I be worried about? Really? Do I want to take this out for Voice of All? I mean, I keep looking at it. Keep coming back to it. If I have one of my buff effects, if it, say, Wilt Leaf Liege or Tolsimir Wolf's Blood, this dude would be a 4/3 on the ground. Voice of All would be a 3/3, but in the air with protection from something. So maybe I should take out the Medicine Runner. Fertilid finds lands. Repeatable, reliable, does the job. There it is. Kitchen Finks. Windswept Heath, you have My Hollow. Lavala, Keeper of Silence. Activate abilities. Creatures your opponents control cannot be activated. Screw you, Greishenstein. Yes, son of a bitch. Comes to play, go find a forest. Put the forest into play. Shuffle. High Market. Ancient Tomb. She's always had an Ancient Tomb too. Wilt Leaf Liege. My other creatures get bigger. If I have to discard and I've got Wilt Leaf Liege, I can just put him in play for free. In play for free. Looks kind of like a chick, doesn't it? I mean, look at the body. It's probably a chick. Garruk Wildspeaker. So, what if I take out Garruk for the Flare of Fortitude? So Garruk untaps lands, which helps me. He can give my creatures +3/+3 and trample. The Beast token I'm not that worried about. Or I put in something where I can protect my team. If I don't have the mana in a pinch, I can sacrifice a white creature. Non-token. I don't have any token creatures in this deck anyway. So is that what I should do? What do you think? I mean, so far, I'm still thinking about it. So far, if I pull out Medicine Runner, let's say, not that I'm going to sell any of these cards. All these cards I will keep in my art binder. I still like it. I just think he's cool. But I need to bring Sigarda up into the current environment. I need to make her more relevant. And I don't want to go down too many creatures because of the lurking predators. It's just gorgeous. RK Post. I don't think he does magic cards anymore. So Yosei. If I take out Yosei, he's kind of a rattlesnake because if he dies, then I can force somebody, I can tap something, 5 somethings somebody has, and they skip their untap step. They don't get to untap. They can't do anything to me. But probably the protecting my team for a turn is going to be better. So let's try that. And I still have the 3 visits. I have Yamama's Reach. But I don't know what I would want to take out for those. This is kind of tough. I mean, he sits on the board, so people can see it coming to destroy an artifact or enchantment. So he's a Exalted Disenchant. Exalted Natural, whenever you started playing, whichever one you saw first. And for me, it's Disenchant. For you, probably Naturalize if you're a newer player. What, if anything, should I take out for that 3 visits? I mean, what does my ramp suite look like now? Let's examine that. I have Cultivate. I have a stack of cards. I have Fertilid. Mana Rocks. Not counting the Mana Rocks, just counting the ramp right now. Wood Elves. So that's 3. Set these aside so it'll be easier for me to, well, put them on top. Easier to update my Moxfield list. She's got 37 lands. Maybe I can go down to 36 because I've lowered the overall CMC a bit. From 6 to 4, from 5 to 4, from 5 to 4. Not much, but a little bit. Sometimes every little bit helps. So is that 3. Crop Rotation, that's 4. Of course I have to sacrifice a land. But if I get the guy's Cradle and I've got enough creatures. And to be fair, Sigarda does not really need Cradle. But she's always had one. So it works. I had another ramp spell, didn't I? Yep, tempt with Discovery. So that's 5 or 6 ramp spells. And then I've got at least 3 Mana Rocks. Is that sufficient? Is that enough to bring her back on par with everybody else? I don't know. Not sure. Anyway, those are the chains I'm going to make, so let's, at the next Thursday game, I'll take Sigarda and I'll see if that works and report back to you, let you know.